Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn a lyric, She Walks in Beauty, written by famous romantic poet Lord Byron. I am Dr. Sawan Giridhar Dharmpuriwar, Associate Professor, Department of English, Vidyasagar Kala Mahavidyalay, Khairi Vijayawada, Ramtik. I hope you will enjoy this lecture. We will begin with the introduction of the poet. The poem She Walks in Beauty is written by Lord Byron. He was a poet and a politician. He is one of the greatest and popular British poets of Romantic period. He is best known for writing on the concepts of love, nature, and liberty. He is also famous for writing lengthy narrative poems. He is notable for the skillful use of varied stanza forms like the heroic couplet, the Spenserian stanza, and the Ottawa rime. Don Juan, Child Harold's Pilgrimage are some of his notable works. He was born in the year 1788 and died in the year 1824. After getting the information about the poet, now we will try to understand something about the poem. I will introduce the poem before we will learn it stanza wise. The poem She Walks in Beauty is a short lyric poem of 18 lines. These 18 lines are further divided into 3 stanzas of 6 lines each. The rhyme scheme of the poem is AB, 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 which means the first line of every stanza is rhyming with the third and the fifth one, and second line of every stanza is rhyming with the fourth and the sixth line of each stanza. The primary theme of the poem is concept of love and beauty. The poem, which is written by Lord Byron, titled She Walks in Beauty, the primary theme of that poem is what we can say concept of love and beauty. The writer has described a lady, a beautiful lady into a poem. The poem presents a picture of a lady with beauty of body and soul. The poet not only describes the physical and outer beauty of the lady, but also speaks about the innocence of her heart and soul. The poet uses various figure of speech while describing the beauty of the lady. He uses figure of speech such as simile, metaphor, and alliteration to elaborate the beauty of the lady. After getting the introduction about the poet, after getting the introduction about the poem, now we shall learn that poem in detail by taking each and every stanza of the poem. I will begin with, or rather, we will begin with the first stanza of the poem. Before I explain that stanza to you, I will read the original lines from the poem. The writer, the poet, says in the first stanza, or writes in the first stanza, she walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies. She walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies, and all that's best of dark and bright. And all that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes. Meet in her aspect and her eyes, thus mellowed to that tender light. Thus mellowed to that tender light, which heaven to gaudy day denies, which heaven to gaudy day denies. I will once again read those lines for you from the first stanza. She walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes. She walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies, and all that's best of dark and bright, and all that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes, thus mellowed to that tender light, which heaven to gaudy day denies, which heaven to gaudy day denies. So in the opening lines of the poem, the poet speaks about an unnamed woman walking in beauty. He's got attracted to a lady. That lady is very beautiful, and she's what we can say walking, and by watching that beautiful lady, various thoughts are appeared in the mind of the writer, and those thoughts are what we can say written by, told by the writer in the form of the poem. He compares her beauty with the beauty of the starry night. There are, but at the same time, night is what we can say filled with many stars. The brightening stars are there, and at the same time, there are no clouds in the sky. Night is completely cloudless, clean. Though her beauty is compared with the beauty of the night, but the darkness of the night is relieved by the brightness of the shining stars. The lady is beautiful like that night. Her eyes are the perfect combination of darkness and night. The beauty of the lady has the ability to bring light and darkness together into her own self and create a softer light, tender light, which is not gaudy or brighter like the daylight, but more softer and better than that. And that's why the writer, the poet, is attracted towards the lady. Thus, in the first stanza, the poet describes the beauty of the lady and tells that how her beauty is perfect combination of darkness and the light. After the first stanza, now we shall move on to the second stanza. In second stanza, the writer further continues the same thought. Before getting the meaning of that particular stanza, we will just read the lines from the stanza 2. The writer or Byron writes that one shed the more, one ray the less. One shed the more, one ray the less had half impaired the nameless grace. One shed the more, one ray the less had half impaired the nameless grace which waves in every raven trees, or softly lightens over her face, where thoughts serenely sweet express, how pure, how dear the dwelling place, how pure, how dear the dwelling place. The contrast of light and dark to describe the beauty of the lady is continued by Lord Byron in the second stanza also. Her beauty is perfect balance of the charm of darkness and brightness. Not one shade more and not one bright ray less is sprayed on her face. It is a perfect combination of darkness and light which is sprayed over her face. The poet further says that if at all the balance of dark and light on her face will not be there, her perfection of beauty might have damaged. The poet says that if one more shade of the dark is added to her beauty, or if a single ray of light is taken away, it will disturb the perfection of beauty of the lady. The poet continues the contrast while describing the beauty of the lady and says, if the color of her hair were a little darker, if the color of her hair will little darker or lighter, it would not appear so attractive. It have what we can say disturb the elegance, grace of her what we can say beauty. And here the poet adds that it is not only the physical beauty that is making her so charming. Yes, she's looking both very charming, very attractive, very elegant, very beautiful. It is not only because of her outer beauty, because of her physical beauty that is making her so charming. Her face is looking so beautiful. She's looking so gorgeous because it is filled with the purity of thoughts. She is looking more charming and graceful because of the purity of inner thoughts and feelings. And that is the reason, according to the poet, that lady is looking so beautiful, so charming, and so attractive. After this stanza, we will move on to the stanza number. In the third and final stanza of the poem, the poet continues the description of her beauty, giving more details. And he writes, and on that cheek and over that brow, and on that cheek and over that brow, so soft, so calm, yet eloquent. So soft, so calm, yet eloquent, the smiles that win, the tints that glow. The smiles that win, the tints that glow, but tell of days in goodness spent, a mind at peace with all below. A mind at peace with all below, a heart whose love is innocent, The poet has already told that purity of her thoughts is visible on her face. He says that she is looking very calm and composed, though she is calm, quiet, and composed. but her face is very expressive and eloquent. She wants to, what we can say, her face is very expressive, as if she wants to tell something, but at the same time, she's quite calm and eloquent and composed. Her smile has the ability to win the hearts of many. The tints that glow on the cheeks and face speak about the splendid past and the days she has spent in goodness. She has got the beautiful, she has got the peaceful mind. The lady has, the writer says that she has what we can say, mind that is very peaceful. She's remain very composed and calm. She's got the peaceful mind which has the ability to see the things with composed behavior. And at last, the poet says that she's looking so beautiful, so charming, not only because of the physical or the outer beauty, but the true reason of her charm, elegance, and grace is the innocence and purity of her heart and soul. Thus, in the third and final stanza of the poem, the poet reveals that combination of her beautiful outer self and purity of her inner thoughts have made the lady a perfect example of grace and beauty. So we can say that in all these three stanzas, the writer has described the beauty of a lady. At the same time, he says that the beauty of the lady or lady is looking so beautiful, so attractive, so graceful, not only because of the outer beauty, but the result that has come as her beautiful self. It is the result of combination of her outer self and inner and purity of the inner thoughts. So while concluding the poem, we can say that in the poem She Walks in Beauty, the poet Lord Byron has described the lady with perfect beauty and grace. While describing her beauty, he has used many contrasts. He uses the images of darkness, of night, and the brightness of the stars. He cleverly uses the figure of speech like simile, metaphor, and alliteration to elaborate the beauty of the lady. Though the lady looks very calm and composed, but her face is very expressive. The glow of her face speaks about her splendid past and the days in splendid past and the days which are spent in goodness by the lady. He further adds that the poet says the lady is a perfect combination of outer physical beauty and the inner beauty of the soul. He further adds that above all, the lady has got the purity of thoughts and a innocent and a heart which is innocent, which makes her very example of perfect beauty and grace, perfect what we can say example of beauty and elegance. And with this, we can say that we have come to an end of our discussion. And I hope you might have enjoyed this. You might have understood the poem. Thank you, all of you.